Good morning, and thank you for keeping it Citizen Television. Daybreak continues this Tuesday. It's actually a few minutes past 8, just a few minutes. We apologize for being slightly late for this. I'm told we're actually very late, and we apologize for that. All courtesy of none other than anyway. Another day. Let's begin the show, shall we? Every Tuesday, we talk about matters love, matters relationship, and we just talk to you about what you need to do, what you need to avoid, and just letting you also tell us what some of you know out there, what you're going through. So we welcome you to be part of the discussion that you're going to be having this morning at Citizen TV Kenya is where you can be able to interact with us. And of course, today, we want to talk about something very interesting, a phenomenon that I believe maybe you have observed, or you could just be living it and you don't know. Married but single. So you are married. Actually, should I say you are single but accidentally married, or you're married but you're single? Yeah, I get it. That confusion is what we want to talk about right now, and how it works, what would make a couple get to that particular point, and whether a marriage that is in that particular condition can be salvaged. And I have with me a panel, two ladies and a gentleman, not new to the program. I'll begin by just introducing the gentleman. Let's do this in the interest of empowering the minority gender on the panel this morning. So CJ Atemo, thank you for creating time.
You're welcome. How are you doing?
Always a pleasure to have you. When we have you there, like I always say, we are sure we are sorted, you know.
The same one.
You know, you're the sober one. You'll tell us what you need to do. Then we have the none other than the only Cutie. Cutie, thank you for creating time. Always looking good.
Thank you, Safin. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And we have Roberta.
Cutie, first of all, tumemwea tuko sober.
I know.
How you interpret what I've said is
my fault.
78.
CJ in minority, but when he speaks, it's for everyone.
No, you know, there's a way when he speaks, we are like, okay. Unajikuta tu umesikiza what he says. But you know, what happens is also, sometimes it's good to bring the truth and the reality, you know, on the table, and that's what you do. Thank you so much, ladies.
Thank you.
For creating time. And gentlemen, your week has been well?
Yes, it has.
It has?
Yeah.
Awesome.
You were up to
Baridi. Amkusikia hiyo baridi?
Really?
Yeah, last week.
Last week, yeah. But this week tuko sawa.
At least leo jua imepenya kiasi.
Yeah, true.
But I've been good. I'm happy to be here always.
Good. That's good. So we're talking about married but single, and it's quite confusing. When somebody hears you say married but single, somebody would ask why. And I want to start with you, Roberta. There is this common phrase, I don't know whether you've heard about it, when people say that, you know, we've kind of just drifted apart.
Yeah.
But things are good.
Yeah.
Are they?
Seyo ni sale dema amenyamaza. Ameongea yake yote, akafika point sana nyamaza. Kila mtu afanye venye anajisikia. But mentally, everyone already checked out of the relationship. So, yeah, I think something I wanted, when the show was starting, I was seeing Izoma statistics zikipita, and I was just thinking about how I think all this single, married, whatever stems from people not really understanding themselves on a very individual level, especially maybe sexually and romantically. They don't understand what they want, what they like. They haven't tried stuff out, so they really don't know. Wanafuata tu system venye wameambiwa. Ukimaliza shule, unapata job. Ukipata job, unapata mdemu. Ukipata mdemu, unaget mtoi. You see, and some people, maybe that's not what they're cut out for, or what they agree with really, or what they want for themselves. Then 10 years later, 5 years into the relationship, do you realize, oh, kumbe I'm polygamous. Kumbe I don't want to be with just one person. I want to be with multiple people, or whatever kind of sexuality you're into. So what I think is people need to just be honest with themselves.
All right.
Jijue vizuri ndo uweze ku extend information uko nayo to the next person, because it's very unfair to vow maybe to be with one person, mnapelekana hadi church, hadi kwa priest or whatever, mna have those vows made, you guys make a promise to each other, and then into the relationship you start changing your mind on other things. And people change, and we constantly get to know new things and improve and change, but lazima kukuwe na hiyo consistent communication about the decisions that you want to make, especially if you're tied to someone legally with like signed contracts and stuff. So I'd say we end up having topics like this because Wase are not being honest with themselves about what they really want.
All right, and you've been a very strong advocate of kujijua of late. Yeah?
Always. Communication, kujipenda na
kujielewa.
Always.
Cutie, you know, this thing about being married and single, what are we even talking about? I mean, from where you sit? Do we even? So we paint reality to Ambia, what's going on?
It's already confusing. Married but single, single but married.
But what's happening?
Really, Safin, like what is really happening nowadays? As I keep saying, we always think that grass is greener on the other side, but that's never the case. When I see maybe someone posting something about their beautiful marriage, oh, we've been together for 12 years, we've been together for 20 years, but the reality on the ground, Safin, it's crazy out there. It's only that people just hide. People are able to hide behind a marriage, you know. If you really knew what is really happening behind some marriages, not all marriages, if we really knew what is happening behind them, I don't think you would want to get involved. And I think before the show we were talking and we were just thinking, nowadays people just want to protect the name marriage. You just want to stay in the marriage, you want to protect your name, you want to protect your status quo, you want to protect yourself in the society. You could be someone big in the church, you could be someone big in the government, you could be someone big even in an organization. So probably you just want to protect your name and maybe your status quo, like, oh, she's married, oh, she has a husband and kids. It's really pretty, but at the end of the day, we know that it takes a lot to actually stay in a marriage. And nowadays, we know that sometimes people stay there, but the way Bobby has said, you've already left mentally, but you want to stay maybe for the sake of the kids. I might decide, let me just say, because my kids are having a good life, and if I leave this relationship, my kids are not going to have a beautiful life, you know. He's probably not going to pay the school fees. We are not probably going to live in a good house and all that. Sometimes it goes back to material things, because at the end of the day, if I'm alone and maybe I'm not working or I'm not in a good job or I'm not getting good money, I might not be able to provide for my children the way I would love to. And also for the man, as I said, it's all about protecting your name, you know. Your name is big out there. So you don't want to see, you don't want people to see you as a failed marriage, a failed person, you know.
And the stigma.
Even the stigma that comes with it. Because at the end of the day, you went to a church and maybe, or to the AG and swore in front of God and people and said, you know, I'm going to be here till death do us part, and death has not done a part, you know. So that's the sad reality, you know, Safin. So you're like,
It's not even about the AG or the
it's not,
other marriages that are also that mutual. Like,
yes, that mutual, you know. We are just together for it all. But all I can say is there's really more to it than people see, than more to the eye, you know. Like, you just see people posting, oh, we have been together for 10 years. Don't buy all that, by the way. Because if I'm single and I see a married couple that they're happy, I would want to be in that. And if I'm in the marriage, then I want to be single because I see Cutie. Oh, Cutie is out there, she's all happy and all. Or Cutie is out there posting her children and her husband. I'm like, now that's what I want. Matching kitenges, you know, like me and CJ over here. We are matching with Brown and all that.
Anyway, but Cutie, you're being very, should I say pessimistic this morning? See, there are people who actually really just honestly want to get married to the love of their life, have that happily ever after, you know, script come true to them and become their reality. I mean, speak to those people. It's all doom and gloom. Stop.
You know,
is it all doom and gloom?
Well, I think when Kissy was talking about people who've been married 10, 12, 15, 20 years, and then they post it and she said, don't buy that, I want to tell them to buy it.
There's hope in marriage.
The part that you buy is not necessarily that it has been rosy. It is the commitment. When they celebrate the 5 years together, 7, 10, 20, 30, 50 years, it's not necessarily that it has been smooth all the way. It is that I have stayed on something that I could have walked away from. So it's the celebration of tenacity, the thing that you keep on getting yourself back on it. It's the same way, you know, you could celebrate 5 years of doing business and it's not been easy. Actually, the celebration then gains meaning from the journey that you have had. If it was easy, then you wouldn't really bother with you've done business for 5 years. But when you know that some people didn't make it the first year or the second, the third, the fourth, then you begin to appreciate where you've come to. And I think some of the people who will do that, they will celebrate that because of what it has taken to stay in it. And sometimes you can't even believe yourself that you're still in it. The growth that you've had, having to forgive, having to let go of certain things, compromise, learn, communicate better, unlearn, relearn. Keep getting to know this person and keep getting to know yourself as well. So I wouldn't take that from them. It's not always rosy. I wouldn't take that from them, but to stay in it at any one point, you know, there are many times you'd feel like you just need to go back into your own life. And that is a reality. I said this to people who are married anytime, that every single day you have an opportunity to walk away. Every single day. You'll find a reason if you want to walk out. You'll find a reason. You probably are feeling stressed. You probably are feeling your space has been invaded. You probably are feeling the pressure is too much. Sometimes you're not sure you really knew what you were doing before you signed up for this. Like you want to say, look, I was young and I made these promises. You already say that I was young. So, because the pressure, the responsibility, the commitment, and then this is not something that, like work, you would say, I'll take leave or I'll have a weekend. You are in it daily. So there are people who, you know, when they've been in it for a while, they begin feeling like emotionally and mentally they're actually completely pressured, even without conflicts or any fight. They're not used to. And Bobby mentioned the people who feel they're not cut out for that. They don't know how to stay around one person for that long and have those expectations. So when they celebrate 1 year, sometimes it's not they're saying, it's been good. Sometimes they're like, I can't believe myself.
I mean, like, you know, like it's been 10 years.
What?
Yeah, and you're looking, you're looking back and you're like, wow, this is me. The former me, I would have checked out in 10 weeks. So, so I think,
Let me take you through something interesting. You know, just is it last week, there was that survey that was out that just sort of painted a picture of how marriages in Kenya look like. The Kenya Demographic Health Survey of 2022 that told us that about 35% of men have had sex outside marriage. 19% of women who are married have actually had multiple sexual partners out there. When you look at these numbers, what do they tell you about the status of marriage in our country today? People who ought to be in a union and sort of we expect they get everything they signed up for. But then again, what's happening?
I love that you use the word expect.
Yeah, I mean, that should be it. That should be the... Yeah.
I love that you use the word expect. But first of all, and not to justify anything, first of all, it's impossible to get everything in one person. It's impossible to get everything in one person. And when we think that, that's when disappointment creeps in, because you're looking for too much. I think when you're getting involved with somebody, you have to understand there will not be 100%. So when you're making the commitment to be with this person, you should have factored in that you may not get everything. So the question then would be, would I still want to be with this person even if I don't get everything? Can I overlook certain things and focus on other things? What are the key things that I love about this person or draw me to this person so that I may want to be with them? Otherwise, if you expect that they will have everything, you'll actually completely get frustrated. And it's not just that nobody can give you everything. Even as you change and as you grow, things also change. So you could come in and when you are in your 20s, 30s, everything is, you know, up and hot and steamy and stuff. Then then age begins to tell you stuff. When you're getting to your late 40s, 50s, you don't have the energy. Now, that thing, normally for most men, that works a lot on them, on their self-esteem as well. Because some of them really put their worth on their performance. And then there are all these stories that they pick from everywhere else, you know, how other people are strong and other people, you know, they go, why are you laughing, Robert? So when that comes to them, there's a way they begin to feel. And some of them, when you talk to them, they will tell you that, and I don't know how you will take this, but I'll give you the reality now. Some of them, when you talk to them, they will tell you that when they are out, they actually feel different from when they are in. It is nearly like they are trying to reinvent themselves because they feel there's a certain level of energy that probably comes from adrenaline of the issue being illegal. That makes them find their strength elsewhere because it is dying somewhere else. There's also the issue of communication. There's also the issue of the comfort zone that comes in when people have been married for a while or stayed together for a while. They can easily take each other for granted and feel like, well, we're always here. So the survey should have also asked probably, you know, how often do these people in their marriage even come together? You'll find some of them, it's once in 3 months and stuff like that because they've gotten into a comfort zone. There are a lot of factors that will come in, not to justify anything, but as they stay longer, there's so many of the factors that come in. So there's lifestyle, there's that element of change. Others, it's just that there's an opportunity somewhere. You're working with people and they're over here and they seem to like you and you seem to have a little bit of money, so you can also go out with them. You know, there's so many factors that would get people there, which I think that need to be looked at a bit deeper.
All right. If I had that 35% in 19, I would ask them why, where are they going? What is it that they're looking for? But Roberta, what do you think this means to you if you look at those numbers? And I believe that is not like the entire representation of what is exactly happening. This is just a sample that was included in the survey. If probably we were to do this nationwide and to be authentic enough to give us the real picture of what is happening in marriages, maybe it could be worse.
Yeah.
So what is happening to the marriage institution from a reality perspective?
Vitu tu CJ amesema. You know, when I've just listened to him and I've realized anyway, vitu za we were just talking about it. Vitu za kuibia ni more in a bamba more. It's a bit more interesting. But then it just still comes back to self for me, because the only reason you act a certain way is because you feel like it's normal or it's okay. So other than society normalizing a lot of these things, it has a lot to do with your childhood, the way you grew up, the way you exist as a grown-up, the way you show up, the way you act. Hizi vitu zote ni habitual. Because ukileta mtu hapa mwenye alifundishwa kuiba ni wrong na anajua tu ni wrong na anajua consequences za kuiba, ni ngumu sana umconvince aibe. But kama ni msi anaibanga na anajua benefits za kuiba, jaishikwa, it's always been good for them, they just see it as normal. It becomes almost second to nature, like it's a casual thing. And even if you have conversations sometimes with men, sorry to say, because I like to ask men a lot of things, because nime realize patenye kuna iyo discrepancy of communication is that we fail to see the other side's perspective. And most times we show up as, especially as women, thinking we know everything and we're right and we're the ones who know better. But when you just shut up and start listening to them, they tell you things and they tell on themselves and they tell you how they really feel and how they really see things. So when you talk to them, you'll hear them.
What do they tell you they want?
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
You know.
Exactly, and they'll casually throw in. Jana, I was talking to my friend and I was just asking them if, like, what kind of man they would be in a marriage. Are they traditional? You know, do they want to be the one who pays for everything, or are they more into the, you know, 50-50 kind of lifestyle? I just wanted to talk to them and hear what, like, from the man. And I also talked to women because I wanted to see, especially mothers, like, what they feel would be good for them, if they'd rather stay home, take care of the baby, or if they'd rather be out there pursuing their careers and stuff like that. So I was just trying to get, and at some point when the men were talking to me, they casually threw in cheating. They would say things like, sasa akika home the whole day, mi napenda dem ako career driven, ndaboeka na dem mwenye uka kwa nyumba, atanza kunibonda, feel nika hana hiyo challenge, so I'll probably cheat. the men I talked to, they all casually threw in cheating. And it was for like flimsy reasons, things like the wife wanting to stay home and take care of the kids, or, you know, so you start to see it's so ingrained in them. Like even when we're having these discussions, it comes out so easily because that's who they are. That's what they see as normal. Those are the things they do. But none of the women, at no point did I hear them say, chali yangu akikosa pesa and I cheat. Whether they do it or not, it wasn't something that came out as
They can
casually. You know, it wasn't something they said, oh, if my man isn't providing, I'm going to... No, they just said they're going to work harder because they have to take care of the kids. So I start to see that our priorities are very different. The kind of conversations we have are very different. And I don't want to say it's all men, because there's men that I've hung around that have not had the same sentiments on cheating and being engaging in infidelity and stuff like that. But like I was saying in the beginning, all this just boils down to the kind of person you are and how you grew up and the things that you've normalized for yourself.
Yeah.
If you feel like hizi vitu ni vitu watu ufanya, ati ukiolewa lazima ucheat, ama ukiwa na dem ni sawa kucheat, ama ukiwa na chali ni sawa kumdanganya. If it's something that's a character flow, like within yourself, that's you, that's how you are as a person. And something I urge people to do is, you see, when we're having these conversations, they prompt you. You might hear something CJ said and you might ask yourself, am I like that? Am I? So when it prompts you, that's when you need to start asking yourself questions and trying to figure out the kind of person you are, so that ukijua tu we ni mse wa kucheat, then decide to say uwezani na monogamy. Just decide, so that when you meet your partners, this is information that you can give them firsthand. Ina remove your fear ya ku have discussions, you know, I'm polygamous, or, you know, I like seeing multiple people.
How do you even begin to have that difficult conversation?
You have to.
Like how,
you have to.
Is it even possible what she's saying?
You have to.
I understand. I like how she's trying to be, you know, nice and say, be honest, tell your partner, me, I can't be monogamous. Is it even possible?
It's a lie. It's a lie, Safin. I mean, seriously. First of all, I want to commend CJ for being realistic and saying things the way they are on the ground, you know, about the excitement. Sometimes the way you say the number of people that are cheating and doing all that, sometimes Safin, and I think it's really sometimes unfair, because the men, when it comes to, yes, we are dating, it's exciting, we get married and all that is happening. But now when the kids come, you know, that changes so many things, you know. The body of a woman changes. There are those changes that come physically, emotionally, you know, like mentally. A woman is in a totally different space. And it's actually unfair for the man to actually just go on with their life. And it's sad that it happens as if nothing has happened. But you see now, the woman is the one that is left with the responsibility for the kids. So, of course, my attention will, I mean, it will go to the kids, it will go to the, maybe the DM, the person that is helping me take care of the kids. I need to get everything right in the house. So that is why you will find that men now start doing other things. They're like, oh, she's become boring. Yo, I'm not boring, by the way. I'm taking care of our house. I'm taking care of your kids. So it's actually in your position or your job to actually help me do this or bring back the excitement, you know. So sometimes I feel like it's the men that really, I'm not blaming the men 100%, but I feel like sometimes...
You're blaming, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Percentage.
But I just feel like it's really unfair when the men start, you know, they're like, it's boring now. It's the woman who pushed me now because she's become boring. I'm taking care of so many things. This never used to happen when we were dating. I mean, when we were dating, we could go for all these trips together, do all these things together. But saizi kuna zile responsibilities zimekam Safin. And I have, as the woman of the house, I'm the house, you know. It's the woman that makes the house.
But CJ, does it have to stop?
No, I'm just saying, no, you asked why. You asked why these things are happening, you know, like why do men cheat and why do women cheat? Then what happens? Now the woman is loyal, right? She's loyal, she's taking care of the kids, she's doing her career and all that. Then it figures a point, this woman gets maybe to 30 or 35. Now the kids are all grown and all that. that, and now the career is booming over here. So the woman decides, oh, you did this to me. So the woman is mostly loyal, but it comes back with vengeance, bitterness, and hurt. You know, you're like, Yani, I did this for us,
game time.
but it's game time now. If you cannot, like, it comes with vengeance and hurt. That's all I can say. It's now tit for tat, because it's like, oh, I was taking care of your kids, of our kids, and then you decided to go do your thing. Now, can I also live my life? You know, and something happens to women when they get to 35 and to 40, because there's something that comes in them. Because now you see the kids are grown, Safine. Kids are maybe 10, 15 and that. You're still a mother. But now it means you can actually, you realize yourself, I can do all these other things, you know. I have the time now. Yeah. I can actually do things. I have the money now. My career is back to normal.
Why continue with that arrangement? Why stay in that marriage if you feel so unfulfilled?
And that's why
you feel so lonely.
And that's why I told you,
Safin.
Stay. That's why I told you.
Single. That's what we have.
Stigmatization. I don't want to leave my marriage. My mom has been giving me pressure maybe to get married. And you know, our moms, the way they, you know, the moms are like, just vumilia, kaa tu kwa hiyo marriage, unajua si poa kuacha mzee. Even when you go back home, what do the parents say? They're always like, Maze, you need to go back to your man. You need to take care of your man. Una need kumpikia, mbona uko hapa. Unaona, we've grown up hearing these things, Safin. It's actually becoming a reality, but in real sense, kwa ground, vitu ni different. I want to protect maybe my name, as I said. I don't want society to judge me. I got married in a church. Manze pale, pastor anze kuona sasa huyu dem. Huyu dem hauna faith, kwani marriage imefail. Unaona hizo vitu? Sitaki kutoka kwa marriage because sitaki kuonekana failure. Even for my kids, I said, some women stay for the sake of their kids. Some men stay for their status quo. So kila mtu akona reasons zake za kustay kwa marriage. And walking out of a marriage, it's not an easy thing, Safin. Umse umeka naye maybe 10 years, mazi. Umeka naye 15 years. So also walking out of that marriage, pia wewe unajita meeting, unajiambia, mazi, I cannot do this. Nika hapa 15 years to build hizi vitu zote, alafu tena nitoke. Then unajiambia, acha tu nikaika. It's going to be fine. We are okay as long as we are together, as long as he's coming back home. Si ataenda kwenye ataenda, atafanya mambo zake. As long as atarudi kwangu na watoi wangu, mi bado niko poa. Hizo ndo vitu zinatusumbua saa hizi, Safin, unaona? Badala tu uondoke tu ngori, uende tu kae na watoi wako ukwe na peace of mind, but wewe unataka tu kukaa ndio uonyeshe wase, by the way, mimi niko tu sawa. Things are good, the marriage is perfect. Na ndio hiyo kitu nimetoka kusema, lakini DJ amesema we buy that story. So watu wanataka lovebirds hapa wenye wanataka kubuy ni sawa, buy, but mimi
as you add on what she has said, there's also that question I asked earlier. She was talking about dating, the things you used to do to spice up your relationship and how you used to look, you know, the things you used to do just to keep the fire burning. And then it gets to a point where all that is toned down. It's like nothing is happening. I just asked, does it have to stop? Just because you have babies, does it mean that, you know there's no more fire?
I think whenever two people get together, and even when they make vows, whether it's the AG or somewhere else in a church or something, I think their vows mean very different things at that particular point. You got to understand that girls are generally domesticated. And most of their things, they're taught things around the house. And boys, we just let them go. In fact, we don't want them in the house. We want them to be playing outside. They find their own way with their peers. They'll come back home when they need to eat and go back, play football or whatever games. They'll come back in the evening. If they don't wash their clothes, either there's going to be a DM or there's going to be a sister who will do that. We generally don't domesticate them into the place where they feel they're responsible and comfortable to be home. Then you take this guy at 25 and you bring him with a girl who for 25 years has been trained to be a homemaker and a homekeeper. And then you say, now the two of you are going to make a home. He will keep doing what he has been doing, which is to go out, play, come back, eat, sleep, get up. And he's not doing anything wrong. He's absolutely genuine in his heart. But now this girl will begin to feel like she has become a slave, because when she used to do that at their house, she was doing it for her parents. Now she feels she's doing this with her partner, and her partner is supposed to be her partner, like we're supposed to share the chores, but not realizing that she is now beginning to mother this man because he's being trained to be domestic. So they begin to have a bit of issues right there. For most men, when they say I do, What I mean is, I am now settled on the side of the home. I want to pursue other things. For the women, when they say, I do, their thinking is, now the two of us are coming home. So it's a very different perspective that they have. That's why you'll hear when men are working hard, they say, I'm out there working for you. And sometimes they don't remember that they need to be there because he is part of the you. Because he feels this is now settled, the lady is already at home, I've left the home for her, I'll go out and work and bring the bread. So in his mind, this has been conquered. Probably now it's time to build business or career or the next thing. For the lady, mostly they're difficult during the dating, but then after they've gotten together, so she's settled in. The man pursues hard before they've settled in, and then after that, he's off, because in his mind, that has been ticked on the box.
Done.
So that alone forms a discord in how they will communicate from that particular point and how they will relate. So when the children come in, they just add to this whole mix where one person feels, I have arrived, I'm now settled, so now we need to build the kind of home with love and romance that we needed. The other person is thinking, now that I've settled you here, let me go back out. It just starts at that particular point. See, when they're dating, they're both coming from probably different spaces. They keep on meeting. So there's a lot of work that is being done.
Is it true that men are hunters and it excites them to keep on chasing? And if you're the lady he's chasing, when does the chase stop? Because now you're putting women at a position where women don't know what to do, because yes, while you're pursuing this lady, you're really doing all the good things that women want you to do for them. After you win them over, it stops and you're on to the next.
Well, and that is where now communication plays a huge role, because expectations, Safin, have got to be expressed. They've got to be expressed. You see, by default, even the woman feels very safe that now she's in there. And you'll see the settling in with, a lot of times, even how she will carry herself. It's not just the men who stop doing the stuff that they used to do. Even the women. They stop doing stuff. They stop doing stuff. They stop looking a certain way. They stop dealing with the man in a certain way and speaking as well in a certain way. Because now when they've settled in, they nearly become a mother in that place and stop being a lover as well. So so the dynamics change as well. The dynamics change from the coy, shy girl that this person would pursue, or the girl that would make this person want to run, to she turns to become the hunter for in some cases. And when the man is displaced, sometimes they wouldn't even know what to do as well. It comes back to breakdown in communication. At the point that you are starting and beginning to live together, you have to talk about certain things that you want for your relationship. And you've got to enforce them as a culture right from the beginning. So you could say, you know, yes, we're married, but we should have a date night once in a week to keep that thing going. So even by the time the children are coming in, there's a culture and there's a tradition. I tell you the truth, men win battles anywhere else, but they fear fighting their wives. Women are so powerful that if she will set and say, we are going to have a dinner night once a week, I tell you they will come. Ask any man who has, their wife has a little baby. At 5 o'clock or 6, there's always this talk about, you know, have you ever received the text on bring the diapers home? He will drop everything and go home and take the diapers. So how then does this woman leverage on this to build the romantic side? Is it just the chores? Because if you also focus too much on the chores and then he becomes your chore mate, it's very difficult to again tell him, let's be going out on dates. I think there is communication is the biggest issue that comes up around that time, that we are not talking the same things. We no longer feel that, or rather we no longer are looking at things the same direction. In the man's mind, he feels he's taking care of you. So the dates do not matter because he feels he's taking care of you. And some of those men bring 100% of their money and they feel like, you know what, instead of going out for coffee, I've brought all the money so that you take care of yourself. But they will not know.
Wako.
And he will not know that you have certain needs. So the thing I'm trying to say is this. communicate it. Communicate it. Communicate it. We easily forget as men. So the woman has to communicate it. Schedule it. Say, it's our date night. It's Sunday. We're going for the movies. It may be difficult in the beginning. After a while, I tell you, they follow.
Yeah.
So there's a little part of it that I would urge the women to try and do that. There are women who will say, well, I've tried this, it didn't work. Of course, there'll always be the margin of error, but in most cases, men will do what they feel their ladies would want.
Yeah. Can I just add to that?
Yeah.
Actually, everything CJ said is kind of a balance of masculine and feminine energy. And as a woman, if you want to be chased even by your husband, and I mean chased like he's still very attentive and he's very involved, don't settle. Just endelea, work on yourself, improve yourself, work on whatever it is, whether it's your skin, your hair, your career, your education, the way you dress, the way you look. Don't enter into commitment and then now you change, because that's not who he. And I'm not saying like, you know, kuna vitu happen, like you can get pregnant, you can be going through depression, you can go through grief, you can go through all these things. But I'm just saying, like, within where you have the strength to be able to show up in your relationship, make sure that you're still the best version of yourself, not just for him or the kids, it's for you, it's for yourself. Because the more unaka hot, the more una dress poor, the more unakanga poor. You think he wouldn't just out of his own volition, like, yeah, I want to take you out, let's go, I want people to see, you know, like in a creative spice. So it's not really even you're doing it for the man or anything, it's ultimately for self. And the men, when they see this, when they see that you're the woman he wanted, you're the woman he fell in love with, it prompts him to still want to keep you. It's just a psychology thing. It's not a ati tufanye ama maboyo fanye mademo fanye. It's every relationship needs effort. Whatever that effort means to you guys, whatever level of effort you need to achieve. Maybe you used to take her out. If you stop taking her out, she definitely notices. And also we need to start taking accountability. I saw CJ trying to be nice, like he was scared to tell the girls, but it's true. You have to put in the effort. Don't just say, my man doesn't take me out. Ask yourself, nimechangiaje kwa hii situation? Ni nini sifanyangi ndo inafanya I feel nika ha need kuni take out? Is it that I don't communicate? Is it that I don't tell him? Is it that
you don't even appreciate?
You know, exactly.
There are people who don't even appreciate.
Yes. And those hizo vitu ndogo ndo zinamata sana kwa any sort of relationship. Just put in the effort, and mostly if you put in the effort to work on yourself, everyone else notices. Even your colleagues will notice, your friends will notice. Hey, Safin, una kapoa. And it's all for self. So if everyone else can notice, definitely your man is definitely going to notice as well. So always be looking towards improving yourself. And if you improve yourself and you work on yourself, atutakuwa tuna have discussions about like, uko confused, uko
married, you're
you know,
single,
because you'll be able to say, hata hizo fears zenye Cutie alimention, hizo ego, kuogopa kutoka watu watakuonaje. Once uko na your confidence yourself, you stop caring. You stop caring, what will the church say? What will the people say? What will my mother say? What will, like other people, yes, they can be valuable and they can inaweza hold weight, but ultimately your happiness, your mental peace, and you feeling good enough to be able to show up for yourself and even for your kids, that's what matters. So uki work on yourself, unacha kuogopa hizo external factors, watu watasema nini juu we bora uko sawa na unaona hii stuff I work, utaweza kujitoa.
You know, funny thing, you said something that reminded me of a conversation I once had with a marriage counselor I hosted in one of some shows I did, Kitambo. And one of the things she said is that she was talking to let me call her a client who came, and she was in an abusive marriage and she was not leaving. And she asked, why are you not leaving this marriage? And the lady said, I want to live at my point of strength, not my point of weakness. So I'm going to take my time to work on myself, improve and be able to be on my own and be happy on my own. Then I will leave. Guess what happened? That marriage never broke, because the moment she improved, the man noticed that, hey, I don't want to lose this woman.
Okay.
Yeah, and they fixed.
Oh, that's nice. I was expecting that.
Yeah.
The ending was so much better.
Yeah, like,
but
like I can't
true.
afford to lose you.
Yeah, I like that.
This is what I almost lost. And,
Yeah.
and they ended up just fixing their own issues. And
I like that.
became-
Yeah, everything you do, ask yourself, how does it benefit me? How does it make me feel? What does it do for me? Inanifanya nifilaje? Ukiweza kujibu hizo swali, unaweza jua, oh, sipendi carrot cake, napenda banana bread. Sipendi kwenda nje usiku, napenda kwenda nje mchana. Vitu simple kaizo ukijua about yourself, inakuwa rahisi kucommunicate. Unaweza hata ambia mse, and I know some people have been abused in relationships to the point that it's a bit difficult to walk out because maybe of the gaslighting and the brainwashing and just abused. When you're broken and beaten down, it's a bit more difficult. Like she said, you know, she worked on her strength so that, and then the relationship improved. I know it's difficult, but don't give excuses. Na usiseme mi kwa hivo, ama mi kwa tu hivo, mi. Anything that you do, make sure it is for the good of you. Make sure you ask yourself at the end of the day, how did talking to CJ make me feel? How did being around Safin impact my life? Like, what did it do? Oh, I felt she was being mean. If ukisha realize, I'm even able to give you a call. Safin, I didn't like how you spoke to me today. And then we can talk about it instead of your passive aggression, satuanze kulengana, weird. Nenda naanza kuambia QT, udem. You know, it doesn't have to get there. You just work on self. It gives you so much confidence to be able to face so many things that you go through.
Yeah, true. I know we have a lot to also share from our viewers. We also just want to hear, what are some of your experiences out there when it comes to relationships? Today we are talking about that quagmire that sometimes you find yourself in. You're married, but then again, it's like you're living the life of that person who is single. I don't know, it could be because of circumstances. So what you do is that you just share the house. You could be sharing the last name. You could be even sharing the account. You have babies, like everything married people do, you have. But then again, the satisfaction that comes with marriage, you don't get it. That's what we are talking about and what could lead you to that particular point. So let us sample some of the, what you guys have been saying on social media and on SMS, just to hear your thoughts also on the conversation we are having on Daybreak this morning. And we have one there saying, marriage is work that works. So if you desire it, then be ready to work on it. It takes sacrifice and it's a journey. You will encounter rough roads, steep, smooth. You must be willing to stretch. All right. Hi, I'm 35. I saw how my mom struggled for us until her death last year, died of HIV. My dad married a day after her. That makes me too scared of relationship. I'm a single mom of 3. So unfortunate. Irene, we have Mildred, you say we have been in marriage for 5 years, but living in the same house, but different rooms. No communication, nothing is working. We have one there, have been married for 13 years, but it takes, but it's like we are divorced. We divorced 3 years ago. Yani tunaishi tu. Tuko tu. That's actually how I would put it. You know, like you've been married 13 years, but there's really nothing happening. I'd like us to just get a final round of final remarks. Okay, I'm told we are really pressed for time, unfortunately, but that is what we will be discussing each and every Tuesday here. Thank you so much for creating time and for your feedback. Hopefully next time we'll have more time to react to what you're telling us. Thank you, asante sana. Have a good day.